My proposal is that we adopt a three-tier system that retains the current counties, creates regional or provincial governments, and retains the national government with a very clear formula for revenue sharing.
It cannot be creating another layer. It should be taking the counties to the wards. It cannot be devolution upwards. It will have to be devolution downwards.
A sharp contrast already drawn between the opposition leader and the deputy president, with leaders under their political umbrellas likely to take cue. The genesis of the 14 regions proposal, however, finds its roots in the Bomas draft of early 2000s. Mutaha Kangu, who served at the Constitution of Kenya Review Commission, that midwifed the Bomas draft, still convinced it's a good idea.
We need a second level of government that is big enough to be viable for purposes of economic planning, development, but also viable for purposes of being a strong counterbalance and against the national government, to serve as checks and balances against the national government.
But county governments are now in their sixth year, having just emerged from a long and tiresome process of establishing structures. To reorganize them into clusters that report to a higher office may not be a walk in the park.
Politically, it's a little late because the current 47 governments are in place and it's very difficult to find a way to reduce them. Now, to create another tier, which is what the Prime Minister was proposing, is an extra bureaucracy which is too expensive and is politically unmanageable.
By creating regional governments to be intermediaries between the national and county governments, it would require the establishment of regional legislative assemblies to make required laws, while also putting up regional governments to be headed by regional chief executives. In the Bomas draft, such heads would have carried the title of regional premiers.
If you strengthen devolution, a lot of our leaders who go fighting for the presidency will no longer be interested in the presidency. They will be keen to see how they can be elected at the local level, because a lot of things will be happening at the local level.
We're going to have even more conflicts. And so this would have been a good idea 6 years ago, but not now. It's too late. It's an idea that's too late.
Since 2013, over 1 trillion shillings has been sent to counties to finance devolution. Most of these resources have been put to recurrent expenditure, with less than 30% on average devoted to development. While there is consensus that the 47 units have proved costly, there is fear a new tier would only add to the cost.
Some of the counties are very small, I can tell you. Like my neighboring Vihiga here, they get 4 billion shillings. And half of it, or nearly 60% of that amount, goes to recurrent. They remain with 1.5 million. What development can they do with 1.5 million?
If we really are serious, then let us sit down and reduce the county governments. If we were to reduce the county governments, 16, 17, 18, that would be economically viable, but politically impossible.
The issue of reducing the counties is not going to be an easy one, because everybody who says there are too many is not, none is ready to say ours can be matched with this one.
Already, counties have been forging regional cooperation, case in point the Mount Kenya region counties and the Lake region units.
We have come together as Lake region economic bloc, 14 of us. But even if we come together, you know, we need legal framework.
Some of these governments need to find a way to have regional referral hospitals. They can't do that unless there's a proper legal framework to ensure that they are working together. That cannot be done by creating another legal tier. That would be too expensive and it's not going to be manageable.
For county bosses and especially first-time governors, they are less enthusiastic about any changes that reorganize the existing structure.
Then it will mean that we start going to Bomas, we start engaging in constitutional review mechanisms, bring in international experts to start working on those things. It will mean that then we forget development.
Let me not comment on that because no one really knows what that means. I don't think it's the right time for me to comment.
If that proposal will accelerate more development at the grassroots, yes, that will get my support. But if it doesn't change anything, we don't have to waste financing.
With the working truce between President Uhuru Kenyatta and the opposition chief, analysts see Odinga's call as more than just a proposal, but a politician keen on making use of existing understanding to push for changes to the leadership structure and devolution. Sam Gitukos Reason, Weekend.